Okay. I call to order the Lynchburg Planning Commission meeting for Wednesday, July 27th, 2022. And the first order of business is the approval of our June 8th, 2022 meeting. So everybody had a chance to look them over, and any questions or changes?
There are no changes. I move that we approve as written.
Second?
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we do have some people missing, but we don't have a public hearing today. We have a administrative meeting, and so the first order of business here is to have a presentation of the 2022 Planning Commission report. So I expect you'll be sharing that with us.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of Planning Commission. The Planning Commission annual report was placed in your Dropbox, so I hope you had a chance to review it. It pretty much just gives the highlights of the last fiscal year. Planning Commission held acted on 17 items. They weren't necessarily all public hearings because some of those are, street namings, things like that. The bigger items that we accomplished during the fiscal year would be the Tyriana plan, which we got adopted. The work on the Darrington plan continues. Staff is currently working on a housing study, sort of in tandem with the Darrington plan, and we expect the Darrington plan to be adopted sometime this fall. So that would technically be in next fiscal year. There's also a tidbit about updating the zoning ordinance, our telecommunications ordinance, which was a little bit out of date with state code. So that is covered. We also noted some upcoming planning efforts that we'll be taking on in the next fiscal year, and those are a comprehensive plan update, which is our next item on the agenda, and also a new neighborhood plan in the Diamond Hill area.
Just as a quick question, I notice the Darrington plan is funded by a grant. Is that sort of the standard way to handle funding for a lot of these plans that we're talking about?
Well, so the Darrington plan, the plan itself is mostly being done in-house by one of the planners and NYGARD. The housing study is that community impact grant that the city received from Virginia Housing. We worked with a consultant to acquire that, and then we work with the same consultant to actually spend the funds and do the grant, or do the housing study using the grant, I should say. So, grants differ in their nature on how much money can be used for planning, and then there are other grants that are more based on implementation. This specifically was a grant that was designed to be a study. So
It just seems like a bunch of plans that are going to obviously take outside money.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also done a lot of things around, we've identified a lot of things that need to be financially addressed in the city. And it's just the strain on the dollars. I was just trying to figure out, as this stuff piles up, kind of how it rolls out.
typically, those are things that the city funds. Grants, of course, come with stipulations about when you need to spend the money, how you need to spend the money. So free money is great, but sometimes there's a local match, and then there's the timeline that may not necessarily match up with what we're able to accomplish. It just depends.
Thank you.
Rachel, are we in fiscal year 23 now?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question, like historically, or you might know for being here several years, is this the lightest load we've had as a planning commission?
So I didn't compare year to year. I think the last one I looked at had about 25 petitions. So you could consider it a lighter year, possibly due to pandemic. I'm not sure. It's hard to point at one thing and say this is definitely the cause of fewer petitions.
Could be the price of building materials too, and labor.
Well, I also think it could be good planning and, framework that works better for people. Seen other meetings where communities have lots of things that people constantly trying to change zoning and things like that. So maybe our
It's true
comprehensive
that,
plan has
you know,
been helpful.
The items that don't come before you are by right development, so not every project comes through planning commission.
It seems like in general, we've had less since we did the comp plan the last time. It'd be interesting to see if that trend continues, because it does try and address some of the tedious topics that, we don't necessarily need to discuss and vote on. It can be incorporated into the plan better, so.
I know one of the goals of the zoning ordinance update in 2016 was to reduce the number of CUPs and public hearings where we could in districts that made sense.
Right. I feel like it's a good reflection on planning staff, personally. I know this is just something we're going to vote to pass this on to city council, unless there's other questions.
I just think that the neighborhood plans sometimes go under the radar, but they really reflect a lot of good proactive efforts and a lot of hard work by planning staff. So I applaud you all for working on those. And I'm always excited to see the next one coming down the pipe. I think that's really good for the city and the citizens. So.
Just to tag on to that too, 'cause I agree. The only thing I would say is I think that also represents a lot of deep work too. So when you start talking about a lighter schedule, you spend it's a lot deeper effort. So it's not a one-to-one correspondence. And I think there's been a lot of that work that's been really thoughtful and taking a lot of research. And I think that needs to be recognized as well. So I just add that to Dave's comment.
And we appreciate planning commission being involved in those public processes and engaging, kind of seeing the process play out as we get to the public hearings. I know you all make an effort to be at those meetings, and that's helpful.
Rachel, I don't know if this is a typo, but if you look at the upcoming Diamond Hill plan, the last sentence of it says, the approach to this plan will be similar to the Diamond Hill and Tinbridge Hill neighborhood planning process.
Yes,
Is that Darrington and Tinbridge? Or-
that should be Darrington.
Okay.
Good
I will change
good eye.
that.
Yes, so we'll make that amendment. Any other changes or questions on the report?
Anybody want to make a motion to move this on?
Make a motion to send the amendment to city council.
Second.
Okay, so we're going to vote to send this on, pass it on to city council. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Nay? Nobody? Great. All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is initiating a resolution to update the 2013 to 2030 comprehensive plan and the future land use map, the FLUME. So Rachel, you can tell us more about that as well.
Sure. Members of Planning Commission, I believe some of you probably participated in the last comprehensive plan update, but this will be another one that we're getting ready to execute on. We've got the RFP pretty much ready to go. And so this will be, as the chair stated, a review and update to the city's comprehensive plan, starting with an analysis of where we are with it, what needs to be updated. They'll be engaging with city staff, planning commission, and the public to figure out the areas that we need to focus on updating. So the resolution before you now is just to officially kick off that project and kind of tell staff to go and pursue it.
Good. I make a motion, we sign the resolution or whatever we're supposed to do.
I will second it.
Okay? Before it goes to vote, I'm kind of curious, since I've never been through the process, what does that look like for Planning Commission?
We haven't selected a consultant or anything yet, but staff would post the request for proposals. Firms will submit bids, and we'll do interviews with potential consultants to take on the project. because we got funds for consulting funds in this fiscal year. So once we select a consultant, we're going to be working with them to kind of lay out the schedule and also the engagement, internally with staff, planning commission, but then also the external schedule as well. So you guys remember we tried to be really comprehensive in our outreach with the public. I think that's going forward. It seems like that's our new standard, and I would say it's for the better. Trying to make everyone aware, make special accommodations for the public that we don't normally reach. Not everyone comes to a meeting on a Wednesday at a rec center or something like that. We did pop-ups with downtown. I'm sure we'll be looking at different sort of ways to reach the public in this process as well. So as far as, it's almost like a neighborhood plan on a big scale.
A lot of heavy lifting for staff, I guess.
It won't be light,
And
but
it's a
we
year
will have a
process?
consultant, so that will help some. But yes, it is a good amount of staff work. We do have a new planner position actually that's posted now, so we'll have another staff member coming on, and hopefully in the fall, to kind of head up that Diamond Hill work, and then working on this as well.
In the expected completion date?
So we don't have the timeline finalized for something like this. It realistically, 9 months to a year, probably.
Great. Well, before we vote, anybody else have any other questions? I know you've been through this before. Some of you all have.
We didn't go through the comp plan before, did we? Was it an update to it? We weren't here in 14, were we? That's when Winter says the thing was adopted.
2016 was when we were finalizing that, reading to the last.
In 2016 was the zoning ordinance, which you guys did after the comp plan, right? So maybe it didn't line up with some of your terms.
Or maybe it wasn't Winter. It says adopted January 14th,
I
2014.
think it was adopted shortly before I came on Planning Commission, so. That's great.
You said that. Okay.
Yeah, I was here for that.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Jerry was still chair.
Right. All right, well, any other questions before we vote?
No, the only thing I would say to consider with you guys have done a great job with getting the public involved, is to pop-ups and all the other things, even some virtual meetings, since I don't think that's not one of the public meetings where in-face is required, right? You can do whatever you want to share
Right,
the info.
If it's just a public meeting to inform or to, get feedback, that's not you'd still do your formal public hearing here, and then there would be one at council before it got adopted as well. But yes, not every meeting has to be in person.
Right, and I know the pop-ups were really popular. We did them at the colleges and downtown, everywhere, and they got a ton of feedback.
Great. Okay, well, all in favor of initiating this and getting city council on board, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Great, it's unanimous, so those two business items go through. And do we have anything else that we need to consider looking down the line? All right, any other business that needs to be attended to?
I believe we will have a meeting on August 10th, but they will let me know for sure next week. So I know a lot of people are probably on vacation this time of year, so just want to be sure we have a quorum.
Good point.
Make sure people let us know if we're not going to make it.
Right.
Yeah, definitely let Anna know if you're going to be out for any reason.
All right, anybody have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
No one's opposed, so have a good afternoon.
Thank you all.